Hi, welcome to RCKicks. On today's show, we'll be going racing again. Yes, it's day 3, my third attempt at taking a buggy and going racing. Now, between you and me, I may have changed one or two things. So we'll go over all the changes and what I've done. Hopefully, it's going to make my lap times come down a little bit. So I guess we're just going to have to find out. Right, let's deep dive into what I've done before we head off racing. Hit it, Charlie. Changed quite a lot since I last raced this a few weeks ago, so we'll go over all the things I've changed. So the first thing that will stand out if you've seen the previous video is the rims. These are JC Racing Yokomo rims with adapters as well, and the front ones are JC Racing spoked wheels. This is more of a style kind of thing, and obviously it makes it a bit lighter. The actual tyres are what everybody else seems to be running at the moment. So we've got Cactus, Schumacher yellow dots, and then the front are staggered yellow dots from Schumacher as well. The reason I went with these rims on the back is it pushes the stance out a little bit more, and I like the styling of them. They look really cool. Another thing, after I broke the upright, I've now changed it to a much bigger upright, and I've changed the front shocks. These are long front shocks now. So the reason I did this was, if you look at a Cougar 2, that's basically what Schumacher did. They actually made it much longer at the front. So I've kind of replicated that, and I guess the idea is that you've got much more travel, so that as you're jumping and landing, you can soak up the bumps a lot better. So I fitted those as well. Now I'm changing so much in one go, I'm not sure exactly what's going to happen until we go racing, but it's interesting to find out. Obviously, changing the upright means you've got to actually trim the body, because in the standard Cougar, the body comes through, so I've cut it basically the same as that's how they did it on the Cougar 2, and I modified it to actually have this bit here so it's screwed down, and I had to make a little joint, but it has to have a screw on both sides. But because it's underneath, I don't want to damage the track. I've actually changed it so that it actually feeds up. So you've got one screw feeding up, one screw feeding down, and I've got a joint in the middle. Under there is some weights as well to try and get some more weight over the nose. What else have I done? Changed the stickers on the spoiler. Nothing special about that. The actual pinion that I had in it, I was running 25 and now gone down to a 23. The track is quite tight, so I'm going to try that and see if that makes things a little bit more punchy low down. So hopefully that might give me a bit more speed. The next thing I've done, I'm going to need to take the body off, so let's do that. Right, with the body off, the next big thing is I now have a full carbon chassis. Yes, the metal chassis is gone. I managed to get hold of a carbon chassis for it. This is a brand new prototype. This one is the MSP RC prototype number 2. And it is serial number 1. The first prototype that was made had a big kick up at the back and it wasn't quite right, so they fixed that and they've actually produced this one, and this is number 1. So I'm super chuffed to be able to have this early. Now the actual production ones are coming out really soon as well. Also, they're doing some rear arms, which I don't have yet. So as soon as they come, I'll have some rear arms. Wouldn't it be nice if they did some front arms as well? But I guess we'll just have to wait and see. So a beautiful carbon chassis. I put a protector on it. There's actually a film on it. And then I've just stuck the Dragon on there for fun, just to try and protect it, stop it from being scratched. Yes, I want to drive it, but I don't want to destroy a prototype. I've added a little extra weight in there as well. What else have I done? Well, the main other thing is I've changed my battery. Now, the battery I was running previously was this one, because I just had them, and I've actually upgraded to this one. Why? Well, this is a 4200 milliamp, which is tons. I think I could do 4 full races with that, so I'm carrying a lot of weight for no real reason. So I picked up this one. This is a still ridiculously big 3600 milliamps, which is still more than enough, but the weight difference is phenomenal. So the previous one that I'm running, wait for it to reset, was 212.16 grams, so 212, and the new one 143, so a massive saving. But not only that, it's super thin as well, so the idea is to get that weight as low as possible. So I've actually changed the battery mount positions. This is now much lower because these uprights are the short ones, so my battery, not only being a lot lighter, is also sitting much lower in the car. So hopefully that's going to help with a bit of weight saving and better center of gravity. That, and the carbon chassis is 24% lighter than the metal one as well. It's a lot stronger, so that's another thing that I've done. Now, I'm not sure how this is going to perform. We'll just have to wait and see when we go. Now, last week when I was running different rear tires than these cactuses, so I picked up some brand new versions of those as well. So this is the version that I was running over the last couple of weeks that were given to me. Super kind of everybody there to lend me those. So I picked up some brand new ones. So I'll see how I get on with the cactus ones, and I'll also maybe try these ones as well to see what the difference is between them. So I would pretty much change nearly everything. Now, it's not finished. I'm actually running the Kyosho censored brushless system, Le Mans system at the moment. I will probably end up changing that out for a more fitting combination, but budget obviously is a bit limited, so I don't want to spend £200 on a faster motor and a new ESC, but I probably will down the line. So we're all set, ready to go. So let's find out, does all this make any difference, and can I go a little bit faster? So we're back at South Cambridgeshire Radio Controlled Club, and this is the layout that I'm racing on today. It's very different to how it was last week, but we'll just have to dial it in. Unfortunately, you don't really get much for practice. You just have to go into it and adapt as you go. Right, we kick off round 1 and I'm car 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, there's a lot longer straight on this track versus the previous one, and unfortunately I'm not geared that well and I don't have the power, so down the straights I'm getting a little bit robbed. Also, this section here is where I really struggled all evening. I just found it really difficult, and also I suffered from glitching, which I'll talk about later. The car performed pretty decently, to be honest, considering I stripped it down and changed so much of it. I was actually happy that it was not just a complete basket case. Now we skip forward in the race a little bit. All in all, not too bad. I made a few little mistakes here and there, and it didn't really flow for me, but it was okay. So that was the first race, and it was scruffy, but the car actually was pretty decent. It's just my crappy driving and getting used to this track, but the car wasn't too bad. If I can just clean up some areas and hopefully don't crash quite as much, then I think I'll do all right. So the steering needed to be trued up. It was pulling slightly to the left, so I've just done that. So fingers crossed, round 2 might be a little bit less messy. We'll go with that.
But he was sitting second in the final.
Right, we kick off round 2. Now, all I'm trying to do is keep it as clean as possible. Until I hit that thing. See, down the straight, it just feels like it's taking forever. No issues over these jumps. It seems to settle quite nicely, as well as the bumps. I don't really have any issues with that at all. I just can't get to grips with this platform in this orientation. Last week it was in a different position and I really enjoyed it and I nailed it until I crashed into something and broke the front upright, but that's a different story. Now this round felt faster to me than the previous one, but I guess everybody else had actually sped up because instead of being in second I dropped down to fourth, even though it didn't really feel like I was going any slower than I was previously. The white Cougar with the black wheels. He's coming up behind me now and he just has so much power down the straights and it was so much more punchy than mine. That's what I need to aim for. See, I'm being hunted down here. I'm trying to keep out of the way. That's the Cougar behind me, and as you can see, watch this down the straight, absolutely blasts away from me. I mean, he's a really good driver anyway, but the power that he's got, I just need a little bit more punch. Now this Pro Cat that you can see in front of me now that's painted up like box art was again really fast, but he wasn't as precise, so there was a lot more smaller mistakes, which shows you that just having power isn't the key. The key really is to keep it clean. You can go slower without crashing, will put you miles ahead versus going fast and crashing sort of 3 or 4 times in a race.
So that was race 2 and it was much better. I felt like I was much more consistent, but I was getting a weird glitching that's going on. But I think I know what it is. It's the connector, so I'm going to change that in between this and then the next one. I was in second place on the first race, so that's not too bad, but I'm not sure if there's only 2 or 3 people in that. I'll have to check. But all in all, the car's actually running all right. So it's just me getting used to this track as it's very different to the one I raced on last time. Wish me luck, we move on to race 3.
So we kick off round 3 and yeah, it doesn't go too great, but you'll find out soon enough. So the beginning opening was really good. I was happy with it. I was starting to get used to this track, even though it just didn't sit with me. It was all stop, start, stop, start. It didn't flow, didn't feel like it flowed. So I'm kind of holding on, slowly dropping back, but I'm not miles off. It's mainly keeping down my mistakes. So you can really see the difference when someone has an accident, how far it puts them back. So we skip forward a little bit further. No issues with this jump. Turning in was okay. Some people were cutting the corner and jumping across. That was pretty clever. Right, I'm actually chasing down an egress now. Right, the car behind me, I think it is the one that's actually in the lead and is chasing me down. But I'm trying to keep going as fast as I can, and hopefully he's just going to pass me without me causing a problem. But he didn't quite get past me. As I turn now, I turn in and I hit his back wheel, unfortunately. I don't know why I turned in so early, but obviously that slowed him down, and then that let the Schumacher Cougar through, which is I think he was fighting. Then he made his own mistake, which put me ahead of him again, so he had to then pass me again. So he's catching me up all the time because he's super fast. But what happens here is that it just doesn't turn. It's a bit glitchy, but then he came up behind me and then he hit the back wheel, and that's where it popped the ball joint off. And unfortunately, being that it was the inside ball joint, it took ages for him to get it to go back on, because you can't get your finger in there. It's really difficult to actually press it back on, and that totally ruined the race for me. It took like 3 or 4 laps before he finally got it done for me. There we go, and we're off. At least I can get a little bit more track time instead of just writing off the whole race. But by that time, I was miles out. So that was round 3, and yeah, it was going quite well up to the point where the ball joint came off when it was hit from behind, and unfortunately, because it was hit in a weird way, it popped the inside ball off, and the marshal took so long to actually try and get his fingers in there to push it back in again. I basically burned through the whole sort of 30% at the end of the race, and it put me all the way down in 6th place. So we will scrub past that. That's just life, and that's what race is all about. So now we move on to the next race. Right, so we go on to the B final. I didn't make it into the A final, but the other Cougar did, so the car is capable of doing it. Now this is just an out and out race, and at the beginning already clashed with the Pro Cat, but I'm sitting in 2nd place at the moment. I'm desperately trying to hold on because that Pro Cat is much faster than me, but the mistakes slow him down a bit. See, again, another mistake, so save me, but he's catching me up all the time, and every mistake puts him back just a little bit, and then he catches me up again. So I'm desperately trying to run for my life, and then I make a stupid mistake. That, I think, was the glitch. It glitched me off to the right more than my mistake, even though I make quite a lot of mistakes. So that put me back a little bit. Now I'm running in a bit of open air, which still makes you faster. I'm not sure what that is. It's a tiny little thing. So that put me ahead of the Pro Cat again because he made another mistake, but look how fast it is. And then he makes another mistake and puts me back. So you can really see it's a really good way of showing that just being fast isn't the key, because I am way slower than he is, but because he's scruffy, it actually puts him back a little bit. But his closing speeds are crazy. See, look, he's got me again, and then watch him go down the straight. So I'm closing on him, and then he makes another mistake, and that one puts him on the other side for quite a while, so that puts him down a good half a lap. And then as I come around the corner, I'm looking at my car, I didn't even see him there, and I absolutely nailed him. So that was my fault. Now he's closing me down again, but I'm still in 2nd place at the moment. And then I make another silly mistake, or it glitches. Up that corner was really glitchy, but I don't know whether, sometimes it's my mistake, sometimes it was glitching. It seemed to pull to the right. So here we go again, I'm back on the Pro Cat. I try to let the leader go through and not ruin his race. That's put me back a little bit from the Pro Cat, but I'm hoping he's going to make another mistake so I can catch him again. Yeah, try not to take him out. And the Pro Cat makes another mistake which puts him back a little bit, so I've jumped him again, so I'm still in 2nd. And then he goes off again at the bottom, which gives me a breathing space. Then I make a mistake on the corner. I'm not sure what happened there, but it's put me back. Now we skip forward to almost the end of the race. And I'm still holding in 2nd place, but I'm a good 2 laps down from the leader. And there we go, we finish.
Well, that corner, if I stick this controller out, it doesn't glitch on me, but I get a crazy glitch over there.
So overall, I felt very disappointed in the whole experience, but on review, actually it wasn't that bad. I came second in the B final and I was the only two-wheel drive buggy, so that's not too bad. But for some reason, I just didn't really click with the track. It was a different layout completely, but it just didn't flow for me. It was lots of stop starting, which I just didn't really get into, and I was getting real glitching issues. And it turned out that I actually changed the aerials and fitted them to the back of the car to make them stand up, which helped a little bit, but I was still getting it. Now I have a few ideas of what it's going to be, so I'm going to change some of the settings in the transmitter to see next time if that improves it. So that caused me a bit of an issue, especially down the bottom where it went up onto the platform. And that platform, because it was off to the side, I just couldn't get my head around it to judge the distance of the thickness of the track as you turn right. So I lost loads of time there, and then you throw in the glitching now and again over there as well. It didn't help. So I was losing tons of time over there. And down the straights, I'm pretty sure if you can see, if you watch back, I was super slow down the straights. So I'm going to address that. Now I did fit a 23 tooth pinion to kind of match the track as it was last time I went there, and it was just even slower down the straights. So I had to borrow a 25 tooth because I didn't take mine with me, and that helped a little bit, but still didn't have the punch, and it just doesn't have that aggressive punch that I'm looking for. So one of the things I'm going to do is, well, I've already done it. I went out and picked up another ESC and motor. Now this is a 15.5. I'm going down to a 10.5. That should give me that little bit more aggressive punch that I need. So hopefully that should help me out a little bit. Also, I've ordered a few other parts. I've got a new body coming. New rear arms should be, the new design ones should be here in the next couple of weeks, so they'll go on it as well. I'm going to pick up a few more pinions. I'm going to have a range. I think I'll order those in the next couple of days. So when I go to the track, I can actually dial it in a lot more, because every time I go there, they set up the track in a different way. So sometimes it's going to be faster than others, and sometimes it's going to be more technical. So having a range of pinions, I think, would help me a lot. Another thing that I've actually done already that I forgot to mention in the earlier part of the video is I swapped out all the screws and I fitted all titanium ones. So I had them left over for some other projects. So I thought, hey, why not? While I was actually doing quite a lot of work to it, I changed over as many as I could. So that was a nice little sort of bit of bling. Don't know how much it actually saved from a weight point of view, but hey, I had them, didn't cost me anything. While I was marshalling, I had a drone. They actually had a drone that was flying around filming on the track, and it nearly took my head off, and I went diving into the I went and rescued a car. Then as I was coming back, it flew at me, and then I dived out of its way and ended up rolling into the side of the track. So at some point that's going to turn up on video, and if I can find it, I will get it and add it to the video, because I went absolutely flying. So all in all, looking back on it, I think it was a more positive outcome than it felt at the time. But I don't let that put me off. I will continue for sure, and I now have picked up my transponder, so I have that. So I'm slowly getting there. There's a few other bits and pieces. I have picked up some more parts. I've got spare front arms, rear arms, and I'll pick up a few extra bits and pieces as I start to build up a collection. Also, once I dial this car in and I get it to a place I'm really happy with it, I will look at maybe doing a four-wheel drive vintage one down the line a little bit, but I just want to get this one to a position of where I'm really happy with it, and it's just me improving my driving. But hopefully, so stay tuned, and I'll be going again in 2 weeks' time.